it won't be an accident because we saw it coming. True, everything on the horizon is suggestive of an imminent implosion from Sokoto to Calabar and from Maiduguri to Lagos. Where we find ourselves today is comparable to a boiling pot or a pressure cooker. If we do not find a way to let out the steam, it is bound to explode with devastating consequences. Nigeria was not designed to be the monster it has become today. No. The monster that is recklessly devouring its children and callously inflicting pain and distress on the most talented and patriotic of its people. The original terms agreed upon by the founding fathers of Nigeria, the result of the painstaking negotiations at the constitutional conferences held in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom between 1953 and 1959, have been so severely violated and senselessly brutalized by both military adventurers and civilian conquerors. Many legal experts today believe that the constitutional arrangements which the military bequeathed us by way of the 1999 Constitution has little semblance with the 1960 Independence Constitution or the 1963 Republican Constitution by which Nigeria became a federal republic. This explains in large measure why 62 years after independence and after fighting a bitter civil war where we lost millions of our brothers and sisters, there is today a renewed clamor for not only self-determination but even outright secession by significant elements from some of our ethnic nationalities that came together in 1960 to form the independent Nigerian Federation. Time for a critical dialogue towards 2023 and beyond. In the run-up to the 2023 elections, therefore, those of us who have not given up completely on Nigeria must start asking. And we owe it as a duty to ask, national unity at what cost? National unity at what cost? National unity on what terms? What really are the fundamental basis of our being together? What do we hold in common? What do we agree should be our core national values and the basic rules of engagement for our corporate existence? As individual politicians and political parties jostle for positions, come 2023 February, some of us recognize that just a change of ruling party or ruling persons, which the 2023 elections will hopefully achieve, is not enough. And it cannot take us far. A renegotiation of the terms of our union as a matter of utmost urgency and priority, national imperative, is to me the most viable path for saving our failing and collapsing nation. Meanwhile, Nigerians have held several profound conversations in the past, including the Ibrahim Babangida's 1986 Political Bureau, Sani Abacha's 1995 Constitutional Conference, Olusegun Obasanjo's 2005 Political Reform Conference, Goodluck Jonathan's 2014 National Dialogue. We have produced tons and tons of documents from previous dialogue sessions whose recommendations have been largely ignored by a succession of leaders. The recommendations for structural reform from these previous dialogue events must now be considered among the low-hanging fruits from which to start the project of salvaging our collapsing nation. If Nigeria is to be saved, the changes we require to bring about are not superficial. They are massive changes that we require to bring about. They are fundamental changes. They are far-reaching changes. You see, after the genocide in Rwanda, the Kagame government decided to banish tribe. So there is no more Hutu or Tutsi in Rwanda. You are just Rwandese. An expert has said before that if modern nation states are to arise, then the tribe must die. No, in our own case, we think we can have a modern nation state with our first allegiance to the tribe. And why are people having their first allegiance to the tribe? Because they feel they are not well treated in the union. So it's a chicken and egg situation. If we are not well treated, I mean, if I cry in my language at Wuse Market, I'm likely to find help. If there's somebody who speaks my language and hears me crying in my language, he will run to my help. But English is our franca. If I cry in English, people can walk away. But if I cry in my language, people will run to my help, those who hear my language. You see, that's part of the reason why people are still keeping to their tribes. When we get to a point that when any Nigerian that cries receive help immediately, it is then we'll begin to let the tribe die. Not die that we're no longer Igbo and Hausa and Yoruba, but die from being the priority loyalty in our lives. Now, if Nigeria is to be saved, the changes we need are fundamental and far-reaching, but in my view, the required changes can be summarized under just 3 broad themes. We don't need to talk 7, 8, 9, 10-point agenda. We need only 3 broad themes. 1, rule of law. Please, can you say it with me? Rule of law. 2, equal citizenship. Please say it with me. And 3, self-determination. Self-determination. Self-determination, or what has come to be described as devolution of powers, to reflect our true nature as a federal state and not a unitary system that is claiming to be a federation. We must, a few days ago, the Minister of Education announced that it is now compulsory for local languages to be taught in the schools. What concerns the federal minister of education about what is taught in primary school? Do you understand that? That's an abuse of federalism. You mean that in Njikoka local government, it is the minister in Abuja that will decree what is to be taught in Njikoka local government? Can you see how we have abused what is called federalism? It's not that the policy is not a good one, but it is not the federal minister that should tell the local government chairman in Njikoka what to teach to the children of that place. They can make suggestions, but they can't decree that. We must trace our steps back to the federalist route negotiated by the founding fathers and understand that the basis of the existence of Nigeria is mutual respect for the religious, ethnic, and cultural diversities of all those in the Union. The 1999 Constitution appears to have vested too much power in the center and emasculated the federating units. There is widespread call today that we dust off the 1963 Constitution and amend it for our present day circumstances. This implies that we perhaps go back to embrace the parliamentary system, adopt no more than 6 or 7 viable regions or states, and grant a good measure of self-determination to those regions, thereby reducing to the barest minimum the items on the exclusive legislative list. We need to cut down massively on the cost of governance by merging ministries, departments, and agencies, perhaps in a more radical manner than the Oronsaye report recommended. We can't carry this number of ministries. I don't know how many there are now. There are over 450, as at the time of Oronsaye, there were over 450 ministries, agencies, and the departments. Now, each one with a chief executive that is treated like a minister, like whatever. The cost of governance is too much. The number of ministers, DGs, permanent secretaries, and so on. And then when you hear the budget, the amount voted, and I hope you know that in many of those places, some of you have been ministers and whatever, you don't know how much food you eat in the house is paid for by government. I was shocked when I discovered it someday. And it's all paid for by government. So there is a party every night, dinner, party every night, while the people are dying of hunger.